our second speaker. It's an honor and a privilege, Victor Q.
Hello everyone, my name is Victor, I'm an addict. My clean date is December 4th, 2017. Spirit of NA is my home group. I have a sponsor that has a sponsor. I have sponsees. I'm currently working step 1. I have a God of my understanding. And I have a group of men who call me on my shit. You know, and this may not be important to you, but it's important to me because it's what's kept me here this long. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to read a little bit out of our basic text here, page 6, who is an addict? At first, we were using in a manner that seemed to be social or at least controllable. We had a little indication of the disaster that the future held for us. At some point, our using became uncontrollable and antisocial. This began when things were going well and we were in situations that allowed us to use frequently. This was usually the end of the good times. We may have tried to moderate, substitute, or even stop using, but we went from a state of drugged success and well-being to complete spiritual, mental, and emotional bankruptcy. This rate of decline varies from addict to addict. Whether it occurs in years or days, it is all downhill. Those of us who don't die from the disease will go on to prison, mental institutions, or complete demoralization as the disease progresses. Drugs have given us the feeling that we could handle whatever situation might develop. We became aware, however, that drug usage was largely responsible for some of our worst predicaments. Some of us may spend the rest of our lives in jail for a drug-related crime. We had to reach our bottom before we were willing to stop. And so, I was born in Seattle. I had a good life, up until 10. My mom and dad were present. They were addicts, not aware they were addicts. My dad lived a life of crime, and my mom cleaned it up. She did the car dealership while my dad did his thing. And I, like I said, I came from a good childhood. I went to private school, and that changed April of '99. My dad got picked up. He got sent to prison. And 17 days after my dad was in prison, my mom was killed in Seattle. She was shot, 20 plus times from the neck down, and it's still an unsolved case to this day. And that's where, my grandma took me and my brother in so we wouldn't go to the state, and that's where I turned to the streets. I started looking up to my cousins and doing what they were doing. And for me, that was running around downtown Seattle. That was running around Pike Street and hanging out on the block. Started out fun and games. Drinking, smoking weed. Selling to party and just take care of myself and survive, and that worked for so long. And then, I'm gonna fast forward, that was pretty much my whole childhood. Fast forward to 17, and I'm partying over by UW at a party, and that's where my first introduction to real to hard drugs came into play. I was at a party, and things went sideways, got into a fight with people, and they opened up the elevator shaft, and they were trying to kill me. And I went from the 3rd floor down to the basement in the elevator shaft, woke up in the hospital, and only thing that saved me was being so drunk. And I'm laid up in the hospital for 6 months. I can't walk. I'm in a full cast, broken back, pelvis, everything. I'm tore up. And they give me OCs, and so that's where my addiction to opiates came into play. And I get those, and And I'm taking them, popping them left and right, and I leave the hospital, and I get my prescription, and then all of a sudden, the doctor's like, "Oh, well, we can't prescribe these to you no more. You no longer need them." And they didn't taper me off, nothing, And so I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And then so I started buying them on the streets until they got too expensive. They were charging $1 a milligram, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm not paying $80 for one pill." Like, I wasn't doing it. And then that's where my love to heroin came into play, and I started using that, and I tried to justify it. Well, it's not that bad. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And then I turn 18, and I get the money from my parents that they put in savings for me. And then I get my money from my tribe for turning 18. And luckily, there was still enough sense in me. Like, I got a house and opened up a small little laundromat, and but then that spiraled into me being the person. "Oh, well, I can clean your money for you," and it got me into more trouble, and that led into me traveling up and down the West Coast, just being my habit, and through that, I end up here in Oregon. I was coming back from California, stopped here, partied, and I did a sale downtown on Park and Burnside, not knowing much about Portland, and I got jammed up. It was a setup, and I go to jail. They offer me McJerk. They're like, "If you take McJerk, you'll get out of jail." And I just heard "get out of jail," and so I'm like, "Yes, sign me up." And so I sign up for McJerk. I get out. I take off back down to California. Go down there for a little bit. Come back up this way. I'm still on the run. And I'm running around downtown, just doing enough to survive, doing enough to keep my habit. I thought I was doing something big when I was still out here, but it was like I was selling enough to keep my habit, and if I'm lucky, get a hotel room on interstate, and that progressed on, and I get picked up for the warrant for not checking in. They give me another chance. I get out. I make that one check-in with them because they release me to the PO, and I go check in with him. He tells me I got to go do this, this, and this. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to go do it." And then I leave his office, and I'm back on the run again. And fast forward, to 2015, I get picked up again. And this time I get another delivery charge, and I'm again downtown on Park, but just at this time I'm a little further away from Burnside, and they get me with a couple delivery charges, and then because there was a daycare on the corner, it was within the school zone, and and so I go to prison. They violate me, and I'm trying to max out. I'm still in denial that I got a problem. They sent me to Coffee Creek. I talked to the counselors there, and I'm like, "No, I don't got a problem. I don't want to do no programs. I'm signing out of everything. Just max me out. I want to do day for day. I don't want to be on paper, nothing." And so I go over to Snake. They send me off to Snake. I'm sitting there, and I get called to roll up. And I'm like, "For what? Where am I going?" And they're like, "Oh, you're going over to Powder River to program." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I signed out." And they're like, "No, you did. You got to go." And I'm sitting there arguing with the CO back and forth. I'm like, "I didn't go." And he's like, "Look, you can either roll up or you can take a whole shot for 4 months." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm going. Give me." I was like, "Give me 5 minutes to pack everything, And so I pack everything up, And I'm at Powder River. I'm still in denial of everything, and I'm there for about 2 months, and then they pull me into the program dorm. And I go in there, I'm still in denial, I'm still telling my counselor, I don't got a problem, I don't know why I'm here, I signed out. And she's like, okay, well, if you don't have a problem, work on your criminality. You're in prison for a reason, work on that. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And so I'm doing that, and I'm 3 months into the program, and it's a 4-month program. And my counselor calls me, and she's like, oh, they did find your paperwork, you did sign out. Do you want to go back to Snake? And I'm like, if I stay here 1 more month, I get to go home? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm going to just stay here then. And so I complete that program, and they send me home. I get released, I go to Bridges halfway, and I'll be honest, I felt like they set me up to come back. Because I was born in Washington, and they didn't give me my birth certificate or my social security card when I was released. So I'm on translate the whole time with no way to get an ID to start looking for work. And my PO won't let me go up to Washington. They're like, no, you're a flight risk. You can't go up there. And I'm like, what if I have someone bring me up there? Like, I need this so I can work. And it doesn't happen. And I got out in November 2017. And so go into December, and I'm out about 2 weeks, and it's December 1st, and I get a phone call from my kid's mom down in Texas, and she tells me my daughter committed suicide. And I used for 3 days. I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm going back to prison. I was ready to go back to prison, and I was going back with the intent to catch a life sentence because I was done dealing with life. And it tore me up. I've come to accept there was nothing I could have done to prevent that from happening, but it still hurts. Like I said, I used for 3 days, and then my house manager was like, I need a UA from you, and so I'm sitting there acting like I can't go, and I'm high, and he knows it, and so I'm sitting there with him, and I'm like, I can't go. And he's like, oh, well, drink this cup of water. So I drink the water. I still can't go. He's like, oh, here, have another cup. And I'm sitting here drinking cup after cup of water, and I'm like, I can't go. And then finally he's like, you know what? I'm gonna run to the store real quick. Hopefully you can go by the time I get back. And so he runs off over to Safeway real quick, and then comes back. And like as I hear him pull out, I'm like, okay. I run outside and I use the bathroom outside. And then why I went outside, I have no clue, but it made sense at the time. And so he comes back, and then finally I was like, yeah, I take it for him. It comes back positive, and he's like, what happened? I was like, I'm just ready to go back. Just send me back. And he's like, go upstairs, go lay down. Your mentor will be here in the morning to take you to see your PO. So I go upstairs, I lay in my bed. I can't sleep because I'm high, and I'm sitting there tossing and turning there, all night, and everything in my head saying, just get up and run. Just get up and run. You can make it 6 months to a year before they catch you. Just run. And I couldn't get up, though. My body wouldn't let me get up even though my head was telling me to. And so my mentor comes, gets me the next morning. We go see my PO. And he asked what's going on. I was like, just let me get one more cigarette and I'm ready to go back. I was like, I got loaded. I don't know how to deal with life. I'm ready to go back. And my PO started asking, what caused me to use and everything. And I'm like, look, just send me back. I'm ready to go back. I don't want to deal with this shit. Just send me back. Just let me have one more cigarette. I'm ready to go. And because he kept asking me, I was like, look, my daughter took her fucking life. I don't want to be here. I just want to go back to the county and send me back to prison. And that's when my mentor spoke up and was like, if you give him another shot, we'll get him clean. We'll get him, he'll be in this house for 30 days, and then we'll move him somewhere else. And, him and my PO started there, sitting there talking. I don't know what they talked about, because at that point I was checked out. I was just thinking of what my next moves were going to be when I got back to prison. And after a little while, he calls my name, and he's like, Victor. And then I finally snap out of it, and he's like, I'm going to go against my better judgment. He's like, I've looked at your record. He's like, you're known for absconding, and every time you abscond, you catch new charges. He's like, but because your mentor's here advocating for you, I'm going to give you another shot. Don't make me regret it. And that's my clean date, and that was my aha moment. That was my spiritual awakening. Someone who I thought was always they were the enemy. They were never there to help me. And by that PO giving me that second chance and saying, hey, I believe in you. Like, I was like, okay, maybe I can believe in myself. Maybe and so I still don't have no ID or anything at this time, and he's still not letting me go up to Washington, but he gave me that second chance. And so I move, and then I go into this other house, and by that time, I'm 3 months in, and they're able to extend my stay there for another month, and then it's getting towards the end, and my house manager's like, your time's up, DOC's not going to pay no more. By that time, I've started to understand what recovery was, because my house manager, when I first moved in, he's like, I'm going to this fundraiser. You want to go? And I didn't want to go. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I did not want to go. Like, I was like, I want to go just chill in the house and relax. But because he was my house manager, I was like, sure, yeah, let's go. And he takes me to PACNA, to the fundraiser, for the fundraiser over at Crossroads. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, oh, you're going to be of service. Go help in there and help serve spaghetti. I'm like, fuck, I guess, okay. And so at that point, I'm doing what he's telling me, because I know for me, what I do doesn't work. And I was so broken at that point where it's like, something has to change. And so through that, building that relationship with him, and then other people in these rooms, I started to learn how to have fun and enjoy life. And I was like, okay, I don't gotta have something in my body to make me feel good. I could feel good about myself without having to put mind alters in me. And my time is up at the house. And I was like, okay, I started crying. He's like, what's up? And I was like, dude, I'm going back to prison. I was like, hopefully you'll still be here when I come back. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't have no job. I have no identification. I was like, I'm going to go back to what I know. And he was like, no. He's like, that's not happening. You're either going to get into my program at the 8x8 or you're going to get into this other program. And so I started checking in with both these people, doing check-ins. And my time came up with the house. And one of the guys I was talking to, I was checking in with him every day. He's like, I don't got a room. And I remember checking in with him on Friday. He was like, so good news and bad news. And I'm like, fuck, what? And I'm like, okay, what's up? He's like, I got a room for you. The bad news is you can't move until Monday. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do, And so I go over to the Clark Center, and I'm staying in the Clark Center. And he's like, whatever you do, don't use. And I don't know if anyone's been to the Clark Center or around there, dude, like, people are using outside there, inside there, and like, I was like, fuck, I want to use, I want to just feel outside myself. And I don't use. I go check in with him Monday. He's like, are you clean? I was like, yeah. And so he gives me a UA, and he's like, okay. He's like, you made it through the weekend. And I go do the housing paperwork with him. And then he's like, okay, let's go pick up your stuff. So I go back to the Clark Center with him. He helps me pick up my stuff, brings me back. And I'm in this program not knowing what to do. I'm scared. I'm like, is it going to work? And like, to be honest, I didn't know if it was going to work. I just knew I didn't want to be on the streets no more. I just knew I didn't want to feel the hurt no more. And I was like, I'm going to try something different, and through that, I was taken out with my mentor. I was taken out to sponsorship night out in Milwaukee, and I'm there, and one of the guys who was going to be wanted to be my sponsor. There was a conflict, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't be your sponsor. But let me introduce you to someone else." And the person he introduced me to was someone I ran the streets with, and I did dirt with, and I sold to. And he was sitting there in a suit, had a tie on, and I didn't recognize him. He's like, "Hey, you remember me?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Fuck, did I rob this guy?" And I'm honestly like trying to place where I know him from. And then he's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "You're Victor, right?" And then he explained my little brown dog I had at the time. I had this little Brussels Terrier I used to run around with, and he explained. I was like, "Oh yeah." And then he told me his name. I was like, "Oh shit." I'm like, "What's the hustle? What are we doing here?" I'm like, "What's this?" And he's like, "There's no hustle." He's like, I do this fellowship and I work the steps. And I was like, "You're lying. What's the hustle?" And he's like, "For real, there's no hustle." He's like, "Just read this book, read the first 107 pages, highlight what makes sense to you, things you have questions about, and after that, let me know you've read it." And so I was like, "Okay." And I still didn't believe him. I still thought there was a hustle. So I was just doing what he was doing, trying to figure out, okay, where's the hustle in this? Where's the hustle in this? And then we started doing the steps, and I dove right in. I knew what I was doing wasn't working. And I didn't want to feel that hurt and that pain anymore. And so I dove in head first, I was in that program, and I was watching people graduate. They're like, "Oh, I'm on whatever step they are when they graduate." And my sponsor was like, "You get to tell them you've done the steps twice now," because I went through it so fast and wanted to understand me and while I was using. I dove in head first. If I wasn't at a meeting or in my groups, I was doing step work. And through doing that, I was able to find my God in a group of men who understood me and knew. They accepted me for who I was and showed me it's okay to show your feelings. It's okay to cry. It's okay to say you're scared. It's okay to say you don't know. Because I grew up thinking men don't cry. Men aren't supposed to show their feelings. And through this group of men, they showed me, hey, you're human. It's okay to cry. It's scary if you don't cry. It's scary if you don't show your feelings. And through them, I dove in deeper, and they made me feel a part of. And I created this life, and things were going great. And I found someone, we created a life together, and then I stopped doing the work. And I was just here. I just wasn't using no more. And through me not doing the work anymore, I pushed her into someone else's arms. And it made me hate both of them for a while, but then I had to look at it, and it was like, dude, there was warning signs. She tried reaching out to you. She tried saying, "Come back." And I was too stubborn and caught up in my own mess that it was easier to, I'm too busy working, or I'm too busy doing this, or I'm too busy doing that, to build that relationship with that person and to continue doing the internal healing work that I was doing on myself. I got complacent, and I still fucked up shit, and I wasn't even loaded. I ruined the relationship, caught myself homeless with, at that time it was 4 years, almost 5 years clean, and I was moving out of the house because I didn't know how to be a partner. And then, and then that turned into me still not doing work because I wasn't ready, and then that turned into gambling. That turned into buying sports stuff. It turned into buying shoes. It was like, let me get anything outside of myself to make me feel good. And I was justifying it with, well, it's progress, not perfection. And it's like, no, dude, it's like, that don't work like that. That's not what it is, you know? And it's like, I'm still hurting myself and hurting other people around me because I'm not able to show up as a friend. I'm not able to show up as a partner, you know? And I've dove deeper in this last year into my support and getting back into my home group and reaching out to my sponsor now, you know, and I'm now in a literature study with them, and like we're diving through all the literature and like actually like dissecting it and talking about how we can relate to it and more than what's just written there. It's like what's our interpretation of it? How do we apply it in our lives? You know, and it's the happiest I've been. And you know. If you're new, you know, all I can say is, you know, just give yourself a shot. You know, if it can work for me, it can work for anyone. Like, you know, like I was that dope thing that was okay with dying on the streets. You know, and here I am now, rebuilding my life to what I want it to be. You know, and like I got my GED when I was in prison. And now I have my AA in applied science, and I'm working on my bachelor's right now, you know. And if you would have told me that 7 years ago, I would have been like, you're lying. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not possible for me. I can never go back to school. I'm too dumb. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the attention span to pay attention. I can't learn nothing new, you know. And here I am applying myself to do those things, you know, and it's like, think of your wildest dream, you know, and then tell yourself that's not big enough, you know. It's like, you got to dream bigger than what you're dreaming of. And like, just reach out to someone, you know. If you didn't hear nothing here, you know, go to another meeting. You know, there's plenty of meetings everywhere in Portland. It seems like on the hour, every hour, there's going to be a meeting somewhere, you know, and find your people, you know, get a home group, you know, get a group of men that are going to call you on your shit, or women, and get a God of your understanding, get a service position, and don't put your hands on no one, you know. If you can do those little things, it's like you're winning each day, you know, just it's a day at a time program. That's all I got, News Scripture. I'm Good
job. Good, that's it, baby.